If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I don't really need to explain as to where I went. Last video I did, and all that stuff still applies here, so if you watch the last one I made, the last update video, then you'll understand as to why I how do I describe it? As to what I'm going for. Shorter form content here, longer form content on the Spidey cast. We're coming back here for a bit. I want to bring this channel back up to speed. The Spidey cast is what I'm primarily focusing on. Game development is what I'm primarily focusing on. But I still want to bring YouTube back. I don't want to just shove it to the background and treat it like it doesn't exist. So, I don't want to just do Gaming Dudes podcast. I want to do my own content as well. I have 204 subscribers. My highest viewed video, 47K. Close to getting to 50K. The Magical Mirror starring Mickey Mouse video. I praise the Lord, quite literally, that I was able to even get that much of an audience. You know, I'm just a random nerd on the internet. I didn't build a brand. I didn't really care. I didn't grind. I think, in my opinion, if you think YouTube's a viable job, you got another thing coming. Some days you're here on top. Some days you're there on the bottom. You just have to game the algorithm and hope and pray that you're going to find the magic formula, the secret formula to being able to get a bunch of views and a bunch of money and 1 million subscribers. And in my opinion, it's not worth it. Just do this for fun. Go to college or get a job. That's my advice. A real job. Stay in school. Obviously, that's an obvious take. Some of you are rolling your eyes, but I want to dispel the myth for you. Nobody just gets 1 million views on YouTube from grinding. It doesn't matter how much passion you have. Don't let freaking Hollywood tell you that you'll succeed at everything, because you won't. I'm sorry. Be realistic. Use this for fun. And if you do get even a little bit of an audience, praise the Lord that you did. Quite literally. So, anywho, on to the subject of the video. So, for this video, I'm going to go through every single microphone that I've ever used on this channel. I'm going to talk about all of them, what I like about them, what I dislike about them. I'm not going to be as detailed as these microphone review channels. They're insane. They go through all the tech specs and all that stuff. I'm just going to talk about how it sounds and if I like how it sounds. Before we get into the comparison, we got to understand there's two types of microphones. The one I'm recording on right now is a Blue Yeti X. This is a condenser microphone. It doesn't have to be right on my mouth in order to sound good. It picks up a lot of sound. It's the most detailed version of a microphone. Picks up everything. Everything about your voice. So this is what you use for narrations, for voiceovers, and all that stuff. It's crystal clear. Obviously, this is not a professional microphone. This is not a frickin' Neumann. That's $10,000. But for me, this was a professional microphone, and still kind of is in some ways. It was like $100-something, but condensers pick up the full sound of your voice and everything in the room too, unfortunately. You're probably hearing some background noise anyway. I don't really care about getting background noise in my videos anymore, as long as it's not too distracting. But I like condensers. Use them for voice acting. Use them for videos and narration. It's just your voice as it is. So if you don't like your voice, you're going to need to get some post-processing. This is a dynamic microphone. This is the microphone you use for a podcast. It's bassy, it's warm, and it sounds full. Like the voice inside of your head, the rumbliness and the pleasantness you hear. This is the microphone for you. It's not for voiceover. It doesn't sound as clear as the condenser mic. But I think dynamics are awesome. I have a ton of them, and I'll show them off to you as we go through the video. But I like dynamic mics, and I like condensers equally. Personally, I don't think one's better than the other. They have better applications for whatever you're doing. Some people use this for music. A lot of people prefer dynamics for singing and vocals, from what I've seen. Obviously, I'm not a professional, but I have run a soundboard before. I'm not the one who made all the presets. There's a guy who taught me how to do some things with it. I'm by no means a professional. But anywho, this is a dynamic, and they're awesome, in my opinion. The first microphone I ever used for this YouTube channel is not unlike people from 2009 to 2005. This, a built-in camera microphone. Now, that's a terrible idea. You do not use the camera's built-in microphone. It's atrocious. Now, if you want a nostalgic-looking video that has that charm to it, that old 2000s charm to it, then go ahead and use it. Or if this is all you can afford, then go ahead. But it's terrible. It's atrocious. And if you don't believe me, here's some footage of the EZ105, my first camcorder. This was obviously being used as a stand-in, but here's the footage. Roll the tape.
Are you guys tired of internet memes appearing on your computer? Well, I have a suggestion. I have a solution for that. Memes like Nyan Cat, Ouija, Malio, Dead Mouse, and Keyboard Cat.
See how terrible this is? Whenever anyone sees this type of camcorder being used in a video, they say the video's been recorded from a potato, and they're right. This is terrible. This is not how you start a YouTube channel. If it's all you can afford, whatever. If you like nostalgia, like I said, go ahead and use it, but I would not recommend it. Now, the second microphone I used was the built-in microphone on my iMac. Yes, I had an iMac. Yes, I'm ashamed of it. I'm a Windows guy through and through, an Android guy. The only Apple thing I ever used is an iPad for drawing, and it's great. But every other Apple product, in my opinion, is not very good. Don't listen to the lies that people say. Oh, but they're good for creative stuff. No, just buy a Windows computer. Don't use Final Cut Pro. Use DaVinci Resolve on a Windows. Use Blender on a Windows. Use game development software on Windows. Mac is not very good anymore. Maybe it was for a time for that type of stuff, but I firmly think this outclasses Mac tenfold. Every option, Android and Windows. But here is what the built-in mic sounded like. Today I'm going to be talking about the development of Minecraft. I know billions of people have probably already done this, but I figure I'd try to give my take on it and try to be as original as I can be. So here we go. Now that you're back, how terrible was that? Echoey, reverby, really bad. It's infinitely better than the built-in camera microphone, but it definitely isn't even close to the content I was about to make with the next microphone we're going to talk about right now. Around 2014, I got this bad boy, the Blue Snowball Ice. Now, I have a lot of nostalgia for this microphone. It got me through years of YouTube. I think I might have had this for like 4 years. Pretty good record for this mic. You know, I loved this microphone. This was my gateway to decent microphones. This was the coup de grace for me. This made my content so much better. Like, I cannot listen to my older content. I listened to my old content before I got this microphone, and it's atrocious. Now, it's nostalgic and fun, but this is better. This is objectively better than an on-camera microphone. It's $40. I got it from Best Buy. My brother got it for me. Thank you, bro, my big bro. Here's how it sounds. Now we're recording on the Blue Snowball Ice. This was my first microphone. This is what it sounds like. This is $40. This is what $40 is able to get you back in the day. I enjoyed this mic. If you still use it for your channel, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. You can keep using the Snowball. I just wanted to upgrade to see if it sounded better, and I personally think the Yeti obviously sounds better, but you may think otherwise. You know, we don't have the same opinion, so there's the Blue Snowball Ice. I like the Snowball sound. Obviously, it's way worse compared to this microphone I'm using right now. Like I said, the Blue Yeti X. Obviously, it's worse. It came out way before the Blue Yeti X. It came out way before the original Blue Yeti. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look this up right now. Well, let me see something here. Blue Snowball. When did the Blue Snowball Ice come out? 2005. This came out 6 years before the original Blue Yeti. So for the time period, it's good. I'm just being honest. I think it's a good microphone. I still think it's even good today. I do think if you're really serious into microphones, not serious, I'm not going to pretend that I'm a massive professional, like I said, but if you're more serious about USB mics, get something better than the Snowball. It's got a nostalgic sound for me, but it's definitely worse than the other options that we have on this video and the Blue Yeti X. I enjoy it though. I'm glad I have a Snowball. And if you're feeling nostalgic, bust it out again and record a video with it. It's fun. Then we have the microphone that everybody still talks about to this day. People still buy Blue Yetis. I'm pretty sure it's still a bestseller on Amazon. It's a good microphone. This was, for me, this was the real deal. I bought this with my own money, $100. This was the real deal. This was the bad boy. You buy this microphone, in comparison to the Snowball, this sounded like you were in a professional recording studio. I'm just being honest. Yes, there was echo, but that's the sins of condenser microphones if you're not in a well-treated room. But man, this was the microphone. It was everywhere. Rhett and Link from Good Mythical Morning used this microphone. PewDiePie used this microphone. I don't even like his channel that much back in the day. Everybody used this microphone. And GMM has gotten worse, in my opinion, in the recent years, but that's neither here nor there. But this was my microphone. This is the first Blue Yeti. This is the original. Everyone and their mothers had this microphone. From podcasters to YouTubers to wannabe voice actors to frickin' cover artists to musicians. Everybody had this microphone. People still have this microphone. I've moved past it. It's a fun mic. I don't know if it's as fun as the Snowball for me. I don't think it sounds bad. It sounds pretty good. If you're running a Blue Yeti, it is a clear upgrade from a Blue Snowball, in my opinion, if you want more accuracy to the voice that you're recording. But I had this for quite a few years. I think it was like 2018 might have been when I first got it. I was doing a lot of live streams with it, but yeah, this is the mic. This was the mic for me. For a long, long time. I might have had it for like 4 years, I think. But I definitely replaced it at some point with the Yeti X, and I think the Yeti X is genuinely better than the regular Blue Yeti, personally. I feel like Blue was just the king of USB mics in that early YouTube era, like 2000s to 2010s. They were at the height. They were the highest echelon of quality for USB microphones at an affordable price. But I feel like as time's gone on, things are getting better. You know, this Yeti X is really, really good. I love my Yeti X. Finally running it through Logitech G Hub, it sounds better. I'm not using any filters. It doesn't sound tin canny. For some reason, I don't know the reason behind it. I had to re-record some segments with G Hub on, but and the reason why we use Logitech G Hub for our Yetis is because Blue was killed by Logitech and absorbed into Logitech, so Blue no longer exists as a microphone company at all. Yetis are still being made under Logitech. It's the Logitech Blue Yeti now, but as sad as that is, to see a legend hit the ground, I still think that Blue deserves to be remembered for what they did for YouTube content. And they make good microphones, especially for poor people like me. So, good on you, Blue Yeti. The Yeti X is better than you, but I still enjoy you as a microphone. And then along the way, I picked up my first dynamic microphone, the Samson Q2U. So this is a USB and XLR mic. Basically, you can hook this to an actual professional soundboard, or you can hook it to your computer with a USB. This mic was insane. This was a culture shock for me, and you're about to hear it right now. So this is the Samson Q2U. This was my first dynamic microphone that I ever bought. I enjoy it. I think it sounds like it has more character than the Blue microphones, the condensers, as it were. I think it has a more podcasty sound, personally. But I think this mic isn't perfect. I think it's good. It sounds good to me, but I think that it very much, like, if you're not going for the radio sound, I don't think this would be the best for voiceover unless you threw some post-processing on it. But at that point, you're not really using the microphone the way it was intended to be. Like yes, you're using it how it's intended to be, but I prefer, like I said, to use mics the way they are, personally. I think this is a great microphone. It's warm, it's nice, it's bassy. I think this one does need EQ. Like, if you genuinely want it to sound more clear, it needs EQ, but I like the bassier, darker sound as well. I like both sounds, but for me, this is more what my head voice sounds to me. Like, to me, the voice in my head has more bass to it. This has more bass to it. And by no means am I a professional. Most people who are professionals would be using Neumanns, and those are $10,000. That's real professional audio. These are not professional mics by any means. I want to throw that in as a disclaimer. These are not professional mics. They're poor man's professional mics. They sound good and they'll get you by. Some of them genuinely can do some awesome stuff. But if you really are a professional, obviously you're buying a Neumann. Obviously you're buying the more expensive Rode microphones like the NT1 with the USB and the XLR, or you're getting the Shure SM7B. Like that stuff is better than this objectively. But I like this microphone. I think it's great, and I don't know if I'd still use it for Gaming Dudes podcast, but I think I'll still use it for something. This is the ATR2100. I was wrong. It's not the ATR2020. This microphone, I feel like it sounds a lot like the Q2U. I'm not sure how much of an improvement it is. I still think it sounds great. But I'll have to hear it in post to truly give a review. But this is what it sounds like. And then I'm going to get back to you on the condenser. I love the bassiness. I love the warmth. I love these types of mics, man. I love both of them. I don't think one's really better than the other, personally. You can't lose with either. And we're back on the Yeti X. The ATR 2021, or the ATR 2100 sounds better than the Q2U. This mic I could actually find a use for. I do like the Samson Q2U, but it's definitely it's definitely not nearly as good as the ATR 2100. Audio-Technica, by the way. I've never heard of Audio-Technica in my life, but I was looking for a better dynamic microphone, and boy howdy was it better. I did not use it for nearly as long as any other dynamic mic that I've used, but I enjoyed it. So, good microphone. Would recommend either of these mics. Probably the 2100 a bit more than the Q2U, in all honesty. Now this mic, the Shure MV6. This is my favorite dynamic mic, and probably the last one I'll ever buy. It's nuts. It's $160. Like, I don't usually like to go above $100, but this mic was worth it. I think it sounds as good as the Shure SM7B, to be honest. I think it has the same qualities of the Shure SM7B. And people will disagree with me and be like, it's a low-quality gaming mic. I enjoy it. I think it sounds great outside of the box. And with the frickin' special Shure Motive Mix stuff, it can sound even better without having to turn up dials or anything. You can just move the brightness. You can change the brightness or darkness of the microphone by using a simple slider in the software. So if you do want to add post-processing, you can with extreme ease. So I would definitely recommend the Shure MV6 If you're not in the mood for an MV7 or a SM7B, get one of those bad boys. And you're about to hear it right now in its original sound. This is the Shure MV6. I love the sound of this mic outside of the box. I have been using this for my podcast, the Spidey Cast, for a long time, since it began. And I plan to use it for many more years. And I don't plan on switching this as my main podcast mic. Now, I'm not going to use this for the main channel. I don't think it really fits what I'm doing here. I want more clear narration, less of this bassy, warm, radio-esque sound. But I love this mic. I do not have any form of remorse with it. It took me a bit to get used to the sound, but honestly, I enjoy it. It's definitely different, I'll say. If you're more used to condensers, this may sound bad to you, but I absolutely love the sound. I think it's crisp. I think it's warm. I think this mic, for me, gets 2 thumbs up. So we're back on the Blue Yeti X, and I feel like the audio, and I'm no audio expert by any means, and I know I've repeated that a lot, but I want to emphasize the point that I am not. Most audio experts who spend an exorbitant amount of money plug their microphones into XLR ports on a soundboard. That's how you get the most professional sound, and that's the truth. I think USB mics are pretty darn close, in my opinion. I think they sound just as good. Maybe XLR is a little bit better. Maybe it handles filters better, noise gates, EQ, all that stuff. It obviously does that better, but I like the bass sound of USB mics. And I've used them for years. I've changed microphones for many years, and I'm landed on one final condenser mic. And that is the HyperX Quadcast 2. I've listened to comparison videos, and I think it sounds amazing. The HyperX Quadcast 2 is my final condenser mic I'm going to get for years. I may bust out the Blue Yeti X or the Snowball for fun nostalgia, but that's going to be my final condenser mic for a long time. For dynamics, I'm sticking with the MV6. I think it sounds like an SM7B personally. Maybe the SM7B outside of the box sounds a little clearer, but I like the MV6. I'm not going to buy an MV7. I don't care about XLR functionality. I'm a poor boy. Now, a lot of people say just buy a cheap XLR mic and plug it into a cheap interface and it will sound better than USB stuff. Sure, it does. But then I have to learn how to use all the dials and learn all the complicated crap on the board, and I have to read the manual and practice. For me, I'm sorry. I'm sticking with USB mics. I don't care about XLR stuff. If you care about that, that's fine, but I do not think you should be belittling people for using USB mics. Let them use their mics. They'd rather do the EQ and all that stuff digitally. I don't want to fiddle through a giant manual to find out what every single knob and dial on a freaking soundboard does. That's too complicated for me. I work with one already, and I still don't understand it that much. I'm able to mess with gain, do a little bit of EQ stuff, but I'm not an expert, and I wouldn't do that for a simple YouTube channel. Why get a freaking board? It's massive. You're putting it on your table and wasting space. I'm sorry, man. I'm a USB guy through and through. If you think it's bad, that's fine, you know. XLR, in a professional sense, is objectively better than USB. It just is. But this is YouTube, guys. It's not that serious. If you want to do amateur voice acting, no one's going to care about the microphone you're using. Or if you want to do amateur singing or whatever you would do with a microphone. I feel like for voice acting, USB can be good. Do I think that you're going to get professional gigs? And obviously I'm not an expert. Like I said, I have to keep emphasizing that. If you get big, maybe you want to consider at least getting an XLR thing. But if you're small like me, just use USB. And even if you do get big, maybe you're too lazy, just use USB. I think it sounds fine. I think people are too critical. But that was my audio journey through YouTube. I'll see you in the next video. God bless, Christ is King, and I love microphones. A lot. Too much, honestly. I'm a nerd for them. For some reason, I enjoy them too much.